briefly, what is BookML? Because I don't assume that people know what the point is. First of all, it will produce documents that look like this. So they look very similar to the output of Bookdown. So if you see Bookdown, that's more or less the same thing. The advantage that I see in Leeds, at least, is that because we have lots of statisticians, they prefer to use Bookdown definitely, and so the nice thing is that it doesn't matter how you produce lecture notes, you get the similar result. So for the students, it remains familiar if you use the same style. I don't love the Bookdown output, but it's convenient that way. And this is another example. This is an online textbook in mathematical logic. There's some nice stuff about this particular document you can find online. Again, because it has additional accessibility related tricks, especially around formal proofs. It includes extra hidden text that gets picked up by screen readers. But again, it's something that we showed in the Talmo talk this January. So I would say I will not do this again here to save time. You can see the demo there. Anyway, let me show you just now, say another couple of words what this is about. Now, the point is to produce HTML directly from LaTeX, but not passing through the very new stuff that you saw in the previous meeting, producing a PDF with tags, a tagged PDF. The story here is not compiling the document via LaTeX, but going straight to HTML somehow, which you can do. There's a number of converters around. Okay, and I think I've said that many of them are mentioned on the accessibility, the JISC Accessible Maths website that you were just browsing now. Some of them run inside Tech, like LWork and Tech for HD. They basically run Tech, but they do additional processing while you run them, more or less, as far as I understand, at least. So the advantage is that they will usually understand the tech side very well. So they will expand your macros in the correct way. But those approaches, they kind of mess up the generating the good HTML in the first place because of technical reasons. Like it's hard to write something like that in tech. This is changing now with Lua LaTeX and all the stacking thing, but I think that there's no clear story there yet. I mean, today, LaTeX-ML and Plastic are two engines that you can use to essentially run LaTeX somehow, but they're not running Tech as you install it from Tech Live. They just run them independently. They sort of interpret the code. So it's going to be less accurate. They make mistakes. It's parts of the code are just wrong, and then you have to fix the bugs. But they do a better job of producing a sensible HTML output. And then definitely Pandoc is actually a fairly reasonable option to use, which is a generic document converter. So this is the picture, and I assume that most of you have heard 90% of what is on this slide, but many of you probably haven't heard one of these options, right? Okay, and then on top of this, BookML and Kairan as well. Now the two solutions that try to do all of the conversion, which means, for example, BookML uses LaTeX-ML to produce an HTML file, but it will add this Bookdown skin around it. For example, it does BookML does a bunch of other small things. It will include the PDF in the final document automatically in the right place so that you can just download it from a button. There's a number of small incompatibilities with MathJax or the way the images are sized especially if you use sticks. There's a number of small things that LaTeX-ML doesn't do out of the box for you, and BookML will do it. And Kairan, in a sense, is a similar thing. It's built on top of Plastic, and it will create these courses. I never managed to actually use Kairan successfully somehow, so yeah, but it's a good option. Like many people tried it, and Okay, so these are the videos of the demos I was doing in the Talmud session, so I will not do those. I will do another demo, which is just to show you. So you can run BookML in, I would say, 3 ways. You can run it on GitHub, and that means also that you can run it via Overleaf if you have a paid Overleaf account, because Overleaf can send your documents to GitHub automatically. So whenever you push to GitHub, GitHub will compile everything with BookML. That's one option. That's the easiest one, because then you don't have to do anything. Or you can use Docker image that is the same one used on GitHub to run the same code, but locally on your machine. Or you can just run it on your machine, which is what I want to show you now. And so now I need to reshare a different window, which is a terminal. Where is it? Okay, there it is. So this is now on a Windows machine. I downloaded a random file from the internet, this lecture template. And actually, I didn't take note where I took this from. But there's an author named, so it's you will see where it comes from. So this is the file. I just downloaded it like it is. It's random. It's a one-page document, which is a template for creating lecture notes. And then the BookML folder is what I added here next to it, and just dropped it, and then I extracted this file. So these are the things you have to do. Then I can check whether the documents are being picked up. So if I do the gmake detect, you will see that it's discovering that lecture template.tech is a file to be compiled in this folder because it contains document class. And then it's checking that all of the software that is required to run BookML is actually installed correctly in which version we have. It says Ghostscript is not installed, but it's not a big deal. So for what I do, I don't need it. Okay, so what do I do if I want to just compile these files? Run gmake. Now let's hope it doesn't explode or anything, because I didn't actually do this on this machine. So now what it's doing is just compiling first the PDF and right. So now what's happening is that MikTeX, this is something I realized this morning. This machine is new, at least it's been reimaged. So most of the LaTeX packages are actually not installed. So yeah, okay. So MikTeX will probably downloading the missing packages. Okay, so the PDF is done. Now LaTeX.ml is running. It's producing this XML file. One of the packages is actually missing from this template, so something will probably not work. Okay, and then the post is where it creates the actual HTML file. This part is usually very quick, 3 seconds. And then you get a zip file, and then something called a scorn package for those of you who know what it is. And now the file is being compiled, and there it is. I have a zip file here, also a scorn package if you want. And if I want to just now show you the output, it's going to be, oops, it's going to be this file here, the HTML, which, and now I need to reshare the window, is going to be this document here. It's automatically split by section. It's something you can disable, and I will need to clarify this in the documentation eventually, because there's a way of doing that. So this is the person that actually put this document on this line, and it's only one page. It's this document here. Yeah, and that's it. So this is this document as it was. There are clearly some weird things going on. So this is not going to be perfect. There's definitely something fishy going on here with the spacing. This for all K is there's a missing space here for some reason. But the rest is more or less how it's supposed to look. The PDF is something you can open from this this button here. There it is. And yeah, this is what it was. And it's fairly similar. But there are bugs, right? I mean, I wanted to do this example exactly because something bad would happen. So LaTeX ML is not perfect at all. And in this case, somehow the fact that you're switching from normal font to monospace is somehow leaking into the next text, which is not supposed to happen. I can zoom in and show you. This is a bug now. Okay, but then the rest of the functionality, the rest of the things you might want from BookML are in place. You can change fonts, you can change colors, and also line spacing. This was Hayden, I think, who implemented this. And yeah, so this is now the real-time demo. I was actually running this on the machine. That was a bit risky, but it worked, so that's good. And yes. Now, final words, because I'm taking too much time already, definitely. What's going to happen next in LaTeX ML? These are now technical considerations. So these are more for those of you who are more into this. I think that the main things for LaTeX ML that are going to come out this year are definitely LaTeX 3 support improved. I mean, it kind of does support LaTeX 3, but it takes like 10 minutes just to start. Every time you compile the file, there's a long story there, but it should improve a lot. That means that you will be able to use it with recent Tech Live, which is good because then you'll be able to produce also tagged PDFs while you're using this, which right now there are some complications there. And there are a number of lower level improvements. And another big thing is going to be much better output for ticked figures. So LaTeX ML does a nice thing where it produces SVGs out of your ticked figures. But then the SVG is not going to be just an image. The text and the maths inside the SVG image is going to be HTML again. So there's an image to draw the lines or the boxes, but then the actual content, the textual content is still going to be text. So a screen reader in principle can read the content of the image directly somehow. But there are a number of glitches around it. So now we're fixing those glitches. We're improving what goes on there. And then the next stage that would be really nice. But I don't know how. It's not feasible right now. Is to, for example, make accessible commutative diagrams. So when you compile the commutative diagrams, the thing I hope that we will be able to do is to add annotations in the SVG so that the commutative diagram reads as a table. And so you can navigate it in the same way as you navigate a table with a screen reader. And then you can read what is in each cell. And then somehow we need to also surface the information of which arrows are coming in each cell and which arrows are coming out and stuff like that, which is, I don't know, but it's in principle that could be something that we can do in the future once the improvements are in. BookML itself, there are a bunch of other things that I'd like to do. And one of these is whether I should be creating EPUBs or not. It's something that people ask for. Well, two people asked for EPUB. And every time I said, well, but then what would be the use case? And is it going to be, how do I make this actually usable or not? And it's sort of not clear to me yet. Okay, I'll stop here. That was already longer than what I thought I would do.
Can I ask Vincenzo what the problem is with creating EPUB support? Because you've got HTML, and at that point, it's the EPUB is just, in a sense, a script away.
Yeah, no, I mean the problem is just producing it is easy, right? Exactly because of what you said. You just take the HTML, you make a zip file, you add a couple of extra metadata, but it's very easy to do that, and that works. The problem is that, for example, one is, do I need to bundle a proper math font for rendering the MathML? That would be one question. Or do I need to generate images for all the equations in order to support readers that do not not support MathML, and
Okay.
and what if your EPUB reader renders the MathML really poorly? Should there be a way of switching between image and MathML? Like there are a number of these things. Like I mean, I would like to produce an EPUB which is really as usable as it can, but I don't know what that would really be.
I mean, that sounds as if the problem there is very variable quality of EPUB readers, and there seem to be lots of them, more than I expected. Is that problem dismissible by saying use a good EPUB reader?
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, actually, yes. Just knowing a sort of list of good EPUB readers that would be useful, because then I could say, okay, maybe I'll just focus on those, like Apple books, fine, and then something that runs on Android and on Windows, for example, and then see, and then maybe that would be the base, the sort of the starting point to know which readers are actually good, and then build on top of that.
They seem very variable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do we have any other questions or anyone else who wants to kind of add to that?
I will chip in. EPUB is a bit of an obsession for me, but I think your final remark there is it worth it? And I think that the part of the puzzle there is who's asking for this, because it seems to me that EPUB just looks like a really good idea, and yet there doesn't seem to be a lot of people banging on the door saying, "Give us EPUB, give us EPUB." So it feels a bit like a solution, a good solution, looking for a problem. Does that overlap with your impression?
Yes. I mean, I love the idea, right? Because you can just download it, but because it doesn't quite render in the same way as it would in the browser.
Yeah.
That's very frustrating, right? Yeah. It's you can't really. I mean, you could run mathjax in the EPUB, so that's also another option. So we could do that. Just bundle mathjax in the EPUB file itself. It makes it a lot bigger. Maybe that's the best way to go. I don't know. Maybe that's the kind of because math. I mean, it's browsers are still not there yet. I mean, Chrome is the best one right now for rendering MathML, but it's still full of glitches, and you need to do lots of small tweaks with the fonts to actually get it to look right. And I mean, those of you who open HTML papers on archive might have noticed that the formulas are a bit wonky sometimes. That's because the browser is not doing the job correctly yet. Right. So yeah, and yes, and then there's WebKit, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff going on with Safari that you need to work this year and keep adding more and more tiny workarounds specifically for Safari, because Safari has its own bugs. Some of them are really old, and they're not getting fixed, and there's complicates things somehow.
In the case we're hostage to other people and other technologies not being as accessible as they could be. Teresa.
Just a quick note to say that the DAISY Consortium, they do a lot of work on the EPUB accessibility, so they could have potentially a list of recommended EPUB readers. It might at least be worth looking into it.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone else with any comments on BookML or it's interesting, we've kind of had 2 meetings in a row with kind of LaTeX demonstration. It sounds like they're kind of going to be able to come together, which would be a bit exciting.
So to speak from the Edinburgh perspective, I'm not sure we've got time to kind of demonstrate, but what we've done is added on to Vincenzo's action to kind of take the reduced zip file, unzip it, and then make a GitHub Pages website so that it will kind of flow. If you were working on Overleaf, you can push those changes to GitHub and then it would automatically update the website, so that people who are a little bit less confident with kind of wanting to convert their notes every time or not really wanting to use GitHub at all, they only need to set it up using a template that we've put together. And then when they make changes, it will just flow directly through to the website, which will already be linked on Learn, which has one or two downsides, but I think is the slickest and easiest way, and we're hoping is going to mean that more people in Edinburgh will use it.
Definitely like streamlining these tech things as much as possible, making things as easy as possible. Okay, any other comments or anything else people want to add? Anyone from Edinburgh want to add? No. Okay.
I think I have a quick question, just as a parting shot. Part of the reason that I was keen to get feedback from users, I'm disappointed and didn't pursue this, was I'm not sure what counts as good enough. It might be that there's a question of because I think that's probably highly sensitively dependent on who is using what to use the output, and it could be that the actual users we're targeting here, there may be reasons why this doesn't matter. It could maybe that for those users, it might be that just being able to read the words is all that's important. It might be that we're obsessing about fidelity to the LaTeX more than necessary. So I think that that's a standing anxiety, but it was certainly the case for me that I wasn't sure if spending vast quantities of effort making this look beautiful was actually going to solve the problem we actually have.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a thing, and Colette's just said in the chat there needs to be real end use. I think we do need to be aware that students need education on this too, and lots of them aren't using EPUB because they don't know what an EPUB is. Vincenzo.
Yeah, no, I mean, to answer to this, maybe I should make this point that I was trying to make in January as well, is that you should think about making this for all of your students, right? Our students generally like this output, the thing we're doing, even though the PDF is still here. So they will just open the PDF. This is the PDF of my lecture notes from last year, number theory. And so we asked them, and they use either of them. They just, they download the PDF when they want to study on their own without an internet connection. Or, but sometimes they want to consult the lecture notes. They just open this version, and they find it easier to just navigate from here, because it's much easier to go around here with the page. And some of them actually do change the font because they prefer to see as much text as possible on the page, for example. So the opposite. They want to have the smaller font so that they can read more stuff at the same time. So that would be that counts for me as good enough. That's the thing we should do. Right? We shouldn't focus on, we have to make this screen readable. Well, we kind of know how to do that, but until we have a student who actually uses a screen reader, you're not going to know whether your approach is really doing the job for that person. But in the meanwhile, you can do this nice thing, which works for everybody. And then you're ready. Then when you actually have a person that has a particular need of something special, then you can tweak your workflow to adjust for them. I would take that approach always.
I think that's a really strong point. We're focusing here on accessibility, but this is good for other reasons as well.
Yeah. There's a kind of universal element here, and also an element of discussing with individual students what's going on.